The term returnees and overseas students once carried a sense of prestige and admiration in China. However, over the past year, these labels have taken on a different tone. Many overseas students face rejection from the United States, and upon returning to China, they're often treated with suspicion and even surveillance. Previously, we reported on numerous cases of Chinese students being deported from the United States. Most of these students were engaged in fields like IT and military-related research. This reflects the U.S.'s effort to curb the Chinese Communist Party, CCP's attempts at infiltrating and stealing intellectual property in high-tech and military sectors. Consequently, students and visiting scholars with ulterior motives have become primary targets of these measures. Historically, returnees and overseas students received favorable treatment upon returning to China. Customs procedures were generally straightforward, as the CCP valued the knowledge and wealth these individuals brought back. However, starting January 1, 2024, many returnees, including overseas students, have reported that Chinese customs officials are now randomly inspecting electronic devices. Some returnees have even found themselves viewed as potential threats or subjected to scrutiny upon returning home. A recent notice from a residential community in Shandong sparked widespread debate online. The notice, reportedly issued under higher authorities' directives, called for a survey of overseas Chinese, returnees, and current overseas students within the community. Similar notices have surfaced across the country. In February 2024, the Yinchuan Economic and Technological Development Zone issued a similar directive. Some netizens have speculated, is it because these students can no longer bring back stolen technology? Have they lost their value and are now being cast aside? Chinese students abroad, once a source of pride, now find themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. Is there a deeper significance to this transformation? The first objective appears to be preventing the dissemination of truthful information. Inside China, citizens face significant barriers to accessing accurate information. News released by CCP-controlled outlets is heavily filtered and curated to align with the regime's narrative. Many rely on overseas media to learn about domestic events, as platforms like WhatsApp and other foreign communication tools are either restricted or monitored. Even minor dissent, such as using these tools, could result in interrogation by authorities. The majority of Chinese citizens have no concept of bypassing these restrictions. They consume daily news exclusively from state propaganda channels, such as the heavily controlled news program Xinwen Lianbo. However, returnees and overseas students, equipped with knowledge of circumvention tools and access to uncensored global news, can act as conduits of truthful information. During significant events, these individuals can challenge state narratives by contrasting CCP propaganda with verified reports from abroad. This potential for mass dissemination of accurate information makes them a threat in the eyes of the regime, turning them into metaphorical time bombs. For example, on January 2, 2024, Yinchuan, Ningxia, experienced earthquakes measuring 4.8 and 4.6, followed by continuous aftershocks, 56 in a single day. The tremors triggered widespread panic, with residents fleeing en masse. Train tickets sold out, and many were forced to sleep in their cars. Similarly, a strong earthquake struck southern Tibet's Himalayas on January 7th, resulting in 126 confirmed deaths and 188 injuries. On January 4, 2024, a student's death from campus bullying in Pucheng County, Shanxi, sparked protests involving over 50,000 people by January 7th. Reports surfaced of protesters driving away security forces, a rare show of defiance against the regime. These crises, coupled with limited communication during such events, highlight the CCP's strategy to suppress the truth. Cutting off networks allows local officials to underreport casualties or damage, protect their careers, and maintain the illusion of stability. Returnees, however, could use their overseas connections to report and spread the truth, further fueling public discontent. During such incidents, returnees and overseas students can bypass local restrictions to share first-hand accounts, making them prime targets for surveillance. Community efforts to monitor their activities aim to uncover their knowledge, grievances, and social connections. The CCP's second objective is instilling fear. Historically, China's national security apparatus meticulously monitored foreign visitors and residents. From customs agents and public security offices to neighborhood committees, every level was mobilized to surveil outsiders. Unlike democratic countries, which focus security efforts on high-risk individuals, the CCP employs blanket surveillance on all foreign nationals and even domestic travelers. With advancements in big data, the regime now monitors all communications within China, particularly those on Chinese-made devices. While not foolproof, this surveillance is increasingly invasive. By casting returnees and overseas students as potential spies or hostile elements, the CCP fosters public distrust toward them. Citizens may hesitate to interact with these individuals, fearing repercussions. This strategy minimizes opportunities for information exchange and suppresses potential dissent. Chinese students studying abroad fall into two categories: government-sponsored and self-funded. Government-sponsored students are often regarded as de facto agents of the CCP. Their studies, fully financed by the state, are strategically aligned with the CCP's goals of acquiring sensitive technologies. The now infamous Thousand Talents Plan exemplifies this covert agenda, aiming to funnel critical information back to China. In recent years, the United States has implemented comprehensive measures to block CCP-sponsored overseas students. On October 24, 2024, the Federal Institute of Technology Zurich, one of the world's leading universities, announced a new security screening policy. This policy mandates stricter background checks for international students from certain countries and includes a list of institutions requiring heightened scrutiny. China, along with 15 Chinese universities and 2 research institutions, is featured on this list. The institutions' critical fields such as information technology, information security, polymer materials, chemical engineering, supercomputing, quantum computing, and single crystal silicon materials. According to the announcement, ETH Zurich evaluates applicants based on their institutional background, nationality, field of study, and funding source. Applications deemed high risk will be automatically rejected. In practice, triggering any 2 or more of these criteria results in the rejection of the application. This policy highlights how leading Western institutions are now fully aware of the CCP's agenda of using government-sponsored students to steal advanced technologies and have effectively shut down these channels. Consequently, many CCP-sponsored students abroad find it increasingly difficult to acquire the desired technologies. When such students return to China, they're often seen as liabilities, given their awareness of the CCP's underhanded operations, and are treated with extreme caution. For self-funded students without CCP training, mistrust begins as soon as they leave the country. Many students encounter the truth abroad, leading to anger over the years of CCP deceit. These awakened students may inadvertently reveal their frustrations to the regime due to their initial reliance on apps like WeChat and Xiaohongshu to communicate with family and peers. The CCP monitors these platforms, and by the time the students realize this, it's often too late. Some courageous students join anti-CCP protests organized by democratic movements abroad. Once identified, the CCP retaliates through direct threats, intimidation, or even detention of their families in China. This extraterritorial repression inflicts significant harm on these students and their families. In some cases, students are coerced into returning to China under duress. Upon their return, these students are viewed as potential spies. The CCP is acutely aware that these individuals, having been exposed to the truth, are immune to domestic propaganda. In the event of major incidents, they could become conduits for spreading the truth and potentially incite social unrest. The CCP has relied on information suppression and truth concealment as pillars of its rule. As its grip on power weakens amidst escalating crises, returnees and overseas Chinese are increasingly regarded as destabilizing factors, unless they belong to the regime's inner circle. In 2024, a significant signal emerged across China. Several provinces and cities explicitly restricted or even excluded overseas students from public service recruitment, reflecting the CCP's deep mistrust of this group. In Guangdong, China's largest provincial economy, the 2025 recruitment for outstanding university graduates saw a rare shift. The list of renowned overseas universities eligible for application was entirely removed, including globally prestigious institutions such as Harvard, Cambridge, and Oxford. Similarly, in Shandong, a province known for its competitive civil service exams, the 2025 recruitment process excluded overseas university graduates entirely. Shanxi followed a gradual approach. In 2022, its targeted recruitment included 94 overseas universities. By 2023, this number dropped to 64, and by 2024, overseas institutions were entirely excluded. In Beijing, the 2025 recruitment program has also barred overseas students. Upon returning to China, overseas students and expatriates face the same restrictions as domestic citizens. Access to uncensored information becomes heavily regulated. Meanwhile, foreigners, especially Taiwanese individuals whom the CCP seeks to court for political purposes, receive contrasting treatment. A recent incident exposed the CCP's contradictory policies. A Taiwanese influencer documented their visit to Shanghai, where airport staff proactively helped him download a VPN. The staff explained that while VPN use is illegal for Chinese citizens, it is legal for foreigners.
我待会儿会在您手机上下载 VPN， 然后就可以翻墙。
I'll help you download a VPN on your phone shortly. After that, you can bypass the firewall and set up a SIM card. They will directly ask if you need Google, WhatsApp, or Line.
So, at the SIM card counter here at the airport, they can help with bypassing the firewall? Are you saying this isn't legal?
No, I was joking. What I mean is, in our country, for us Chinese citizens, bypassing the firewall is allowed.
Have you bypassed the firewall yourself?
No, I haven't.
So if someone bypasses the firewall and gets caught, what happens?
I'm not too sure about that because I haven't done it myself.
If I leave the airport and get questioned by the police, will there be any issues?
No, there won't be.
Will I get arrested?
No, you won't.
All right, let me note down your name. If I get detained, I'll just say you're the one who helped me bypass the firewall.
The video captures the staff repeatedly assuring the influencer, "You're allowed to bypass the firewall. We Chinese are not allowed. It's illegal for us. And for the convenience of foreign travelers, VPN use is permitted." Some netizens cautioned against CCP-endorsed VPNs, citing potential security risks. Investigations have revealed that Chinese companies operate many free VPNs. In 2019, a screenshot circulated online showed multiple Chinese companies developing securely compliant cross-border VPN applications. Regardless of nationality, anyone in China today faces extensive surveillance, leaving no room for privacy. However, the regime's blatant discrimination between citizens and foreigners has sparked widespread reflection. Netizens have lamented the CCP is the biggest discriminator against Chinese people. Some joked that by categorizing Taiwanese individuals as foreign travelers, the airport staff implicitly acknowledged Taiwan as a separate country. The irony has led to mockery, with some dubbing the CCP's behavior as schizophrenic. Such contradictions are emblematic of a regime in decline. History shows that authoritarian governments often display erratic behavior as they near collapse. Within just a year or two, Chinese students, once seen as valuable assets after years of grueling studies and significant financial investment, often supported by family debt, have fallen from societal favor. They're now surveilled, mistrusted, and discriminated against, leaving some to become leading voices of opposition against the CCP. The journey to uncovering the truth may be painful, but those who awaken are ultimately fortunate. Once they pick up the proverbial stone, it's invariably aimed at sinking the CCP's faltering ship.